Let us pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants whom you have pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this republic. Let your blessing descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberations in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. Amen. Clerk, next order.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
We have some communications that we have received from the executive, and the first one is nomination of board members to Molo Municipal Board. The above matters refers that pursuant to Section 11 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act, we have completed the selection of the membership of the above board as guided by the law. The following candidates who have met the criteria are hereby forwarded to the Assembly for further action. 1, James Mboro Mwangi of ID 1346184. He is a male from Molo, representing the Pastors Alliance. The second one is Peter Mureu Masharia of ID number 256-53086, male from Molo, representing Pastors Alliance. The second communication from the executive is a nomination of member Nakuru County Rural and Urban Affordable Housing Committee, that pursuant to the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and Parts 4 of Section 34 of the Affordable Housing Act 2024, the following persons have been evaluated and recommended as members of the Rural and Urban Affordable Housing Committee. 1, James Michoma Machuka Getuno of ID number 4827046, is a male, non-executive chairman from Nakuru. Esther Wangoi Mwangi, she is a female, representing Trade Association of phone number 0721355836 from Nakuru. Sarah Chepkoech Koech, a female, representing the Resident Association from Nakuru. John Otieno Adero, representing the county residents of ID number 107752122 from Nakuru. Clerk, next order. Okay, I want to commit the two communications to the Committee on Lands. Kindly, Chairman, Committee on Lands, take notes. Thank you. Clerk, next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
No petitions.
Order number 5, papers.
We have a paper to be laid by our Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My office is in receipt of supplementary 2 budget estimates for the financial year 2023 to 2024. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Section 135 of the Public Finance Act 2012. I wish to lay this paper before this Honorable House.
Thank you, Majority Leader. That document is committed to the Committee on Budget. Clerk, next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Next order.
Order number 8, motion.
We have a motion by Honorable Anthony Kanyere, Chairperson, Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs on the benchmarking visit to the Senate of Kenya and Nairobi City County Assembly on 15th to 17th November 2023. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity to give a report on the benchmarking visit that was done by a Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs sometimes back last year. That was 15th to 17th of November 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs is established in our Standing Order 194A, and it has some mandates. The mandates are laid down as constitutional, all matters related to constitutional affairs, the organization and administration of law and justice, including elections, ethics, integrity, anti-corruption and human rights, as well as public petitions. Mr. Speaker, sir, my committee comprises of 22 members as listed in the document. Mr. Speaker, sir, I take this opportunity to thank sincerely all the members of my committee for their dedication and unwavering support that they have accorded to me during our visit and during my working as their chairman. On behalf of the committee, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is my pleasure and duty to present this report on the Justice and Legal Affairs benchmarking visit to the Senate and Nairobi City County Assembly that was done last year. Mr. Speaker, sir, cognizant of the critical role played by the JLAC, that is Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, in the promotion of constitutional affairs and administration of law and justice, the Office of the Speaker and Clerk facilitated the committee for benchmarking visit to the Senate and Nairobi County Assembly. The objective of the visit, Mr. Speaker, sir, was to learn the best committee practices in undertaking the committee's mandate on constitutional affairs and administration of law and justice, including the achievement of the Senate and Nairobi County Assembly committees, if there are any challenges that they are facing as a committee, and any emerging issues. Mr. Speaker, sir, we started by visiting the Senate JLAC committee, and the chairperson of that committee, Wakili Hilary Kiprotich Sigei, began by appreciating the committee for their visits. And as we know, the Senate is conceived in Article 96 of our Constitution of Kenya, and it has a mandate to organize, it participates in lawmaking functions of Parliament by considering, debate, and approving bills concerning counties, determining the allocation of national revenue among counties, and exercises oversight over national revenue allocated to the county governments. In addition, the Senate promotes devolution by organizing county assembly forums, legislative summits, and the Speaker's roundtable meetings. These platforms have brought on board all the major stakeholders, including all members of county assemblies, county assembly speakers, and the Senate. They also advocating for the financial autonomy of county assemblies through direct access to finances from the central bank rather than through their respective county treasuries. This is an undergoing exercise that they are doing, and this will go along in a way of strengthening our oversight and legislative roles. Mr. Speaker, sir, they also offer capacity building to county assembly staff where they train them on various aspects on parliamentary practices. Mr. Speaker, sir, when we visited that committee on jailer Senate, it's also established under fourth schedule of the Senate standing orders and has a very rich mandate of considering on matters relating to constitutional affairs, the organization and administration of law and justice, election, promotion of principles of leadership, ethics and integrity, agreements, treaties and conventions, and implementation of the provisions of the Constitution on human rights. The composition of the committee, they have 9 members. As a standing committee, the Jailer Committee engages various stakeholders, for example, the Kenya National Human Rights Commission, Gender and Equality Commission, the Judiciary, the Office of the Attorney General, the Office of the Ombudsman, the Council for Legal Education, Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, amongst others. The oversight role of the Senate vis-a-vis that of the county assemblies. And Article 96 of the Constitution grants the Senate power to determine the allocation of national revenue amongst the counties as provided under Article 217 and participated in the oversight of national revenue allocated to the county governments. On the other hand, Article 185, subsection 3 of the Constitution grants that the county assemblies the county assemblies power to oversight the county executive committee and any other county executive organs. This provision resulted in debates about a perceived conflict in the discharge of oversight duties between the Senate and the county assemblies. It was attributed to the fact that the Constitution of Kenya was not clear on the extent the Senate should exercise its oversight role on county governments without undermining the oversight role of the county assemblies. The conflict occasioned the Council of Governors to seek an advisory opinion on the demarcation of the oversight roles by the Senate and county assemblies via the Constitution Petition 24 and 27 of 2019, Senate versus Council of Governors and others. Mr. Speaker, sir, the court held that both the Senate and the county assemblies have the power to oversight the county revenue, whether nationally allocated or locally generated. Mr. Speaker, sir, the fact that the county revenue is locally generated does not remove it from the purview of Senate oversight. Such revenue still falls within the rubric of public finance, whose use must remain under the radar of scrutiny and oversight by the state organs established for that purpose. Similarly, the fact that the county revenue is nationally allocated does not place it beyond the oversight of county assemblies. Otherwise, on what basis will the latter approve the budgets and scrutinize the implementation? The purpose of the Constitution is to entrench good governance, the rule of law, accountability, transparency, and prudent management of public finances at both levels of government. Such grand purpose cannot be served if either the Senate or county assemblies begin to develop center of oversight or influence. In this regard, the county assemblies provide the first tier of oversight, while the Senate provides the second tier and the final tier of oversight. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the impeachment of governors, Article 181 and 182, subsection 1 of the Constitution, as read together with Section 33, Cap 265 Laws of Kenya, donates power to remove governors from office to the respective county assemblies and subsequently the Senate. However, members concur that in the exercise of these powers, several issues had emerged, since impeachment was both a legal and political process, with no prescribed strict legal standard of proof. Mr. Speaker, sir, notably that Section 33, subsection 8 of Cap 265 was not clear on the number of times a governor can be impeached. It provides that reintroduction of motion by the Assembly on the same charges or allegation against the governor can only be done after the expiry of 3 months from the date of the vote. This provision was cited as a recipe for instability due to the numerous impeachment against governors. A good example is that of the governor of Meru, which was there sometimes last year. Further, an attempt to address the issue by legislation that was brought under Impeachment Procedure Bill, Senate Bill number 15 of 2018, was unsuccessful. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the matters of County Assembly Forums, commonly known as CAF, it was observed that the County Assembly's Forum was not anchored in any act of parliament, but rather registered under the Societies Act. The mandate of CAF is to support the county assemblies perform their 3 core functions, that is lawmaking, oversight, and representation. The senators expressed concern about the lack of accountability of the funds remitted, since the same are not audited by the Office of the Attorney General. Concerning petition, Mr. Speaker, sir, Article 119 of the Constitution of Kenya grants the persons the right to petition Parliament to consider any matter within its authority, including to enact, amend, or repeal any legislation. To this end, the Third Senate has received a total of 47 petitions committed to the respective committees. 8 out of the 47 petitions, Mr. Speaker, sir, are committed to the JLAC committee. During our visit, the Senate's JLAC committee was interrogating a petition by one Honorable Simon Lenguya, a member of the County Assembly in Narok County. The prayer of the petitioner was that the Senate consider amending Section 21, subsection 1 and subsection 2 of the Elections Act to have mandatory provisions for candidates for anyone contesting for the position of Speaker in all the legislation in Kenya to possess a degree certificate. That includes also the county assemblies, Senate and National Assembly. He further stated that the standing orders to be amended to limit the powers of the members of the Speaker's panel to the facilitation of House debate, and that any matter requiring the Speaker's ruling be deferred to a date when the Speaker shall be available to make a decision. He further expressed concern that many county assemblies have speakers who lack the requisite knowledge and skills to interpret the law and standing orders. Further, aware that speakers play a critical role in the administration of the various assemblies, it will be prudent that they possess the requisite managerial skills. The petition was vehemently opposed by CAF, represented by Honorable Josiah Murithi Rithiku, the Speaker of County Assembly of Embu. Mr. Speaker, sir, in matters concerning appearance of cabinet secretaries in Parliament, it was observed that whereas Kenya adopted the presidential system of government, with a clear demarcation of separation of powers between the 3 arms of government, the respective houses of Parliament amended their respective standing orders to facilitate the appearance of the relevant cabinet secretary before the before Parliament to respond to questions on their respective dockets. The move was applauded for the promotion of transparency and access to information. Finally, the committee attended the Senate in the afternoon's plenary session. The next day, Mr. Speaker, sir, we visited the Nairobi County Assembly, where we were joined by our host, the Jailer Committee of Nairobi. The chairperson Jailer Committee, Honorable Jared Andieki Yakama, began by appreciating us, and he took us through their standing order, and we were introduced to the members, and the membership of that committee, as listed below, is 19. That committee in Nairobi County Assembly, Mr. Speaker, sir, has very rich mandate, whereas they engage and oversight various county departments, for example, Office of the Governor, Office of the County Secretary, Security and Compliance Department, Office of the County Attorney, and these are a new word for us, barrels and sub-county administration. The Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, for them, it's a departmental committee, whereas for us, it's a sectorial committee, a select committee. And therefore, they perform the functions of the departmental committees as provided for under Standing Order 209 of their Standing Order. To investigate, their mandates include investigate, inquire into, and report all matters relating to the mandate, management, activities, administration, operations, and estimates of the assigned departments. Secondly, they study the program and policy objectives of departments and the effectiveness of the implementation. They also study and review all county legislation referred to it. Whereas when any legislation comes to this house, for them, it has to pass through the jailer committee in Nairobi County Assembly. They also study, assess, and analyze the relative success of the departments as measured by the results obtained as compared with their stated objectives. They also investigate and inquire into all matters relating to the assigned departments as they may deem necessary and as may be referred to them by the county assembly. They also vet and report to all appointments where the constitution or any law requires the county assembly to approve, except those under Standing Order 202 on the Committee on Appointments. And finally, they make reports and recommendation to the county assembly as often as possible, including a recommendation for proposed legislation. Any legislation that comes to the House, they have to give a recommendation if it adheres to the constitutionality. In matters to do with petition, Mr. Speaker, sir, Section 35 of CAP 265 grants the person, I think this is a repetition, I'll go directly to vetting, their mandate on vetting, Mr. Speaker, sir. The jailer committee had undertaken a vetting exercise of the chief officers in the respective dockets that I said before, those were like 5 of them, and include but not limited to the county solicitor, chief officer security and compliance, chief officer public service, and chief officer barrels and sub-county administration. Now this new word about barrels. Nairobi County is set to join other cities in the world, for example, London and New York, that are divided into administrative units known as barrels, after the proposal was approved by the County Executive Committee at a cost of 400 million. The barrel system is a structure within the county government that aims to provide services closer to the public while ensuring efficient use of infrastructure like road, construction machinery, and garbage trucks. In Nairobi, there are 6 administrative barrels, each serving as a hub for local administration and service delivery. The barrels are listed below. That is Central Barrel, which include Nairobi City Business District, Starehe, Kamkunji, and Mathare sub-counties. There is Western Barrel. This include Westlands, Dagoretti North, and Dagoretti South sub-counties. Eastern Barrel, which includes Embakasi Central, Embakasi West, Embakasi North sub-counties. North Barrels includes Kasarani, Roysambu, Ruaka sub-counties. Southern Barrels include Kibra, Langata sub-counties. And finally, there is Southern Eastern Barrels, which includes Embakasi South, Embakasi East, and Madaraka counties. Mr. Speaker, sir, this system is designed to shift the focus on City Hall from direct service provisions to primary policies by placing barrels at the forefront of service delivery. The goal is to decentralize county government functions while maintaining economic efficiency. This ensures that no region within the county is neglected in favor of another or promoting balanced development across the area. Mr. Speaker, sir, the governance structure of the boroughs is that each boroughs will be governed by city managers appointed by the governor, who will be responsible for the day-to-day running of activities while paying respect to the already existing system of devolution of 17 sub-counties, where the sub-county administrators are responsible for the coordination, management, and supervision of the general administrative functions in the sub-county unit, including the development of policies, plans, service delivery, development activities to empower the community as established under Section 50 of the County Governments Act, Cap 265, Laws of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, having gone through the visit, as a committee, we came up with some recommendations, which I'll read out. Pursuant to Standing Order 194, the committee recommends to the Rules and Delegated Legislation Committee to amend the standing order and make provisions for the following. 1. The appearance of County Executive Committee members in plenary sessions. 2. To expand the mandates of the JLAC Committee to include vetting of nominees referred to the committee, scrutinizing and reviewing county legislation as a departmental committees. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee recommended that the county assemblies considers withholding remittance of subscription to county assemblies forum until it is anchored in an act of parliament. Mr. Speaker, sir, with those few remarks, I beg to give my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. Is there any member from your committee who can second?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. Let me call my friend, Honorable Gatisa, to second the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I raise to second the report.
Thank you. The motion is open for debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity. And I take this opportunity also to commend the committee on JLAC for doing such a wonderful job and happening that I'm part and parcel of the committee. And also for you giving us an opportunity to be able to go and do a benchmark or exchange program to Nairobi. I believe there are so other things that we are able to get as we are exposed to what other counties are doing. Number one, there was this thing called barrows, whereby it is a small juries where you can be able to manage all the activities within your county. So I believe it is something that we saw best we can be able to include within our operation in Nakuru County, so that we can be able to realize a way on how to be able to do with some challenges within this county. The other thing, I believe it is time ripe for us maybe to look into a standing order, happening that the other day as there were advertisement in terms of jobs by the executive. We saw there was an advertisement for Solicitor General, in which I believe it is not incorporated in our standing order. And with that, I believe with the if we'll be able to amend the standing order, we'll be able to incorporate that so that they can be given role on what should be done. The other thing I believe that has been recommended, it's for us to be able to invite the executive, especially the CECs, CEOs, so that they can come answer a question directly to this house as an oversight role, because to some extent, even getting them, calling them to committees, to some extent it is a challenge. But I believe if we can be given that opportunity, if we can be able to amend our standing order so that we can be requesting of them to come here, be accountable to each and every ward within this county, so that we can we continue with this accountability process here, and also to ensure that all the questions within the wards or within Nakuru County are shoot directly onto them so that they can be able to give such position. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I fully second or support the report.
Thank you. Honorable Muraya.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I think yesterday, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Athiai rose here and asked about how these gadgets are operated, and we were promised that they will not be letting us down. So I think there is something that is needed. So, Honorable Speaker, thank you for this chance. As I speak here, I want to support the JIRAC report and echo them in all manners that we need to do some changes, especially in our standing orders, Honorable Speaker. We have been asking for this. I want to thank the committee and the chair for the visit and good learning and coming up with a good report that we need to implement in our assembly so that we can be able to execute our mandate in this honorable house. Mr. Speaker, we have been having lots of humiliations from all quarters in this county, and we need to strengthen the powers of this house so that we can be effective and we can be felt back there in our grounds, and also the executive can be respecting this honorable house. So, Mr. Speaker, in our standing orders, as my fellow honorable member Bernard has said and has suggested, we need to have CECM CEOs coming to this house, and I also want to propose and to suggest that we also need director of procurement. When we are amending our standing orders, we allow we put in that the directors of procurement, the head of public service, to be coming here in this assembly so that they can answer all questions. Because, Mr. Speaker, I remember there was a motion we passed here that we need to know where the savings goes. And, Mr. Speaker, we need seriousness if at all we want to be efficient and effective in this house. So, Mr. Speaker, we need to add more powers, and we need to strengthen the standing orders that always guide this house. So I raise to support and to congratulate the committee for the good work they are doing. And I think with your guidance, Honorable Speaker, and our clerks, we shall get into this as quick as possible so that we can start working and efficiently. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this chance.
Thank you, Honorable Athiai.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, asante sana kwa kunipatia hii nafasi ili niweze kusupport hii report nikiwa mmoja wa hiyo committee. Mr. Speaker, tulipokuwa pale Nairobi tuliweza kupata kwamba committee ya JLAC ya Nairobi City County inaangalia department kama 5 katika city ya Nairobi, Mr. Speaker. Na Mr. Speaker, tulipokuwa hapo pia tuliweza kuelewa kwamba Office of the Governor na Office of the County Secretary the committee has an oversight role over the 2 departments, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, in line with what my brother here, Honorable Muraya, said, that we are about to amend our standing orders, I'd like also this House to note that these 2 departments, the Office of the Governor and the County Secretary, should also be given should also be given to the committee on JLAC so that they can do the oversight role over these 2 departments in the county government, in the executive, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we also went to the Senate, and at the Senate we realized that what the Senate is doing is more like what we are doing here in terms of oversight. In fact, Mr. Speaker, kuna mahali pengine tuko tunakuta ya kwamba mambo tunayofanya hapa chini ya oversight inagongana na yale pia wanafanya pale juu kwa Senate, Mr. Speaker. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, kulikuwa na umuhimu sana wakae chini waangalie kuna zile roles zinafaa ziachiwe sisi watu ya county ambao tunaangalia hapa kwa county na Senate inaangalia zingine. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, nataka kusupport hii report na kwa kazi nzuri ambayo ilifanywa na committee ya JLAC. Asante sana, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member for Kamara.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this time. I'm also rise to support the report on JLAC and also to thank the committee on JLAC. From the chairman to the members, he did a very good report. It's one of the comprehensive reports.
It's one of the reports that I believe you did it well. So I think rather than putting a lot of more discussion, Mr. Chair, I wish you could put it in question because the report is self-explanatory, no more addition, no nothing, no subtracting. So wonderful report for the good people of JLAC. Thank you.
Honorable Alex.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to support this report by JLAC committee and encourage that other committees might go in record or on record having served to give us quality reports as this, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, of major things that I've heard, devoid of many politics, is that of setup of barrows within our own system of working here. If you walk or move to the city of New York, Mr. Speaker, you'll find that we have around 5 boroughs, Mr. Speaker, of which organize and of which deliver economically to the people, Mr. Speaker. We have the mayor of the New York, Mr. Speaker, who delivers so well, but with other managers that we have. When you move to the city or to London, Mr. Speaker, you'll get that London has 32 of them, Mr. Speaker. And for those who do not know, Chelsea is part of the barons of that area, Mr. Speaker. Westminster is another one, Mr. Speaker. And I believe that if we can move on these things the way we are moving, Mr. Speaker, we shall be a great team, a team that is not divided, a team that will deliver to this county, Mr. Speaker. Because at times, Mr. Speaker, we are reduced. And at times we reduce ourselves to negligible teams. Mr. Speaker, I've heard words that we have team 30 and we have another team 100. So you see the 2 teams, Mr. Speaker, if not well managed, Mr. Speaker, you'll find you'll find that this county will never ever be delivered to, Mr. Speaker. Because if any time we are reduced to a team that is so negligible, a team that cannot fight and work for the people, I think, Mr. Speaker, ours will be a very bad thing, Mr. Speaker. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I wish to advise this House to always focus, just as the JERA committee has done, moved around, showcase that we can be a world-class county, Mr. Speaker. Nakuru is a county which is a city, Mr. Speaker. If Nairobi can organize itself to that status, Mr. Speaker, I think we can also do that. Because, Mr. Speaker, it has been an agitation of these members that we ensure that we keep some money for maybe movement in and around the world, Mr. Speaker. As we move around the world, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to welcome these members to my great home of New York. They can study at the barrels there, Mr. Speaker. We can also move to London together, Mr. Speaker, so that this pettiness of race teams and other teams, Mr. Speaker, can come to an end, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Members, can I proceed and put it to question? Yes. That this House adopts the report of the Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs on the benchmarking visit to the Senate of Kenya and Nairobi City County Assembly on 15th, 17th November 2023. That as many as of that opinion say aye. Aye. That as many as of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk, next order. What is it, Honorable Member?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I am Moses Koros, MCA Mauche Ward, and Chair Disaster and Humanitarian Assistance. I rise to seek for leave, Mr. Speaker, sir, for adjournment to discuss a matter, for this House to discuss a matter of county importance, and that is because of the heavy rains that our country is now going through or experiencing. We've had a number of cases where our population have been displaced because of rain. Recently we had issues in Nairobi, Tana River, and of late we've seen a number of problems here in Nakuru. People have been displaced around Nakuru area, Lake Nakuru, and also Lake Naivasha. So it is in that case, Mr. Speaker, sir, that I rise under our standing order number 36, 1, to request that this House discuss the preparedness of our county government on dealing with this problem that is endangering the lives of our people. We know, Mr. Speaker, that Nakuru County is susceptible to a lot of this danger, and is the county government ready to save a life, or we are just waiting to lose a lot of life? So, Mr. Speaker, I'm requesting that this House discuss the level of preparedness in our county so that we can save our people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Maybe our clerk, can you confirm whether the members who are standing are meeting the thresholds as per the standing order number 36? Thank you. We can continue and deliberate on the motion. So the mover.
Mr. Speaker, sir, pass one to our standing orders, number 36. I stand to once more thank you for granting us an opportunity to discuss this matter of county importance. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have got various water bodies in Nakuru County. One of them is Naivasha. We also have Lake Nakuru. And because of the heavy rains that we are experiencing across the county and the country, the lakes are really rising at a high rate. We also have, because of the heavy rains, many of our streets have now become impassable. Just last week, Mr. Speaker, some of the members here, and even people using our highway in Nakuru had it very rough even to access their vehicles because of the flooding streets. Last year, Mr. Speaker, in my ward, Mauche ward, because of the heavy rains, there was a family that was enclosed for several hours. It took the intervention of the Department of Disaster to go and rescue the family. We still have a number of dams that are likely to burst their banks across the county, and that is actually a danger to the population that we have. So in order to ensure, so that we can be sure that our people are safe, we need to, as a county assembly, know the level of preparedness on the side of the executive. Are they ready to deal with the situation? What have they done so far? And if they are not ready on time, Mr. Speaker, sir, such a disaster in waiting, this assembly cannot be part of those who are waiting. We want to know so that our people may be safe. I'm inviting now Honorable Member Geru to second this motion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. With your permission, I stand to support the motion and to give my views. Mr. Speaker, sir, sometimes last year, I rose into this house and asked a statement from the Department of the Disaster Management on the level of preparedness when we were expecting the El Nino rains. Up to date, we have never been given that report back. And I wonder, this coming from the Chair Disaster Management Committee, it leaves us as a county in an awkward situation. And I would like to say this, having coming from a ward that is in city or within the urban areas, we have experienced a lot of the flash floods lately, and it exposes the county government badly. And mine is just to propose that we should have regular drainage clearing. I remember during the last time when we used to have the Kazi kwa Vijana program, those things were not there with us. So I would like to encourage the county government of Nakuru to engage our youth to do some drainage clearing in our cities and urban centers so that we can avoid the flash floods. And I think having heard from the chair, this Department of Disaster Management, we should, as a county government, we should look at it and increase some budget allocation to that department so that we can always be prepared in matters to do with the disaster. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. With those few remarks, I want to support.
Any other member? Yes, Honorable Wajef.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this chance, and just want to support the chair in a manner that when we look at our social media, we can see how things are in Nairobi, how things are bad in Narok and other counties. Mr. Speaker, I remember, I don't know whether it's this year or last year, we were given time to locate our areas that are at hot points. Mr. Speaker, I remember there were finances that were set aside. Even if that was done, Mr. Speaker, I don't think there was much that was done by this county. I remember we saw engineers moving up and down, and at the end of the day, Mr. Speaker, we came to realize that there was nothing that was done. Mr. Speaker, there is a high time the engineers of this county in the Department of Roads to make sure that they unclog all the culverts, and also make sure that they enlarge in terms of the diameters of those culverts, because in most cases, when there are flash floods that are coming from the hilltops, it brings a lot of problems on the lowest points, like my area, Mr. Speaker. So we would like to urge immediately the CEC for roads to make sure that everything is set, because in the few days to come, according to the meteorological department, we are going to have heavy rains in our area. So, Mr. Speaker, I think we need to have the mitigation measures set aside to make sure that we save lives in this county. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also rise to support this motion. And indeed, Mr. Speaker, in such a time, we need to have a discussion on the status of our disaster preparedness within this county. Mr. Speaker, just today, some few hours ago, I listened to the CS Education, CS Mashogu, extending by 2 weeks the opening dates of this term to all the children within this country. It is a disaster that is within here, Mr. Speaker, and being cited that we must change because of the heavy rains. Mr. Speaker, if you watched news yesterday, and for those of us who are traveling today from Nairobi, in Juja, Mr. Speaker, you could not pass. Today morning, Mr. Speaker, coming from Lakeview, the Nairobi-Nakuru highway had all been turned into a river. In my own ward, Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether I still have roads. It is raining, Mr. Speaker, and I don't even know whether my people are still there. Many people lost their chicken. In fact, some of them came to my own house, Mr. Speaker. And of course, as a measure of rescuing this chicken, Mr. Speaker, my people, some of them want to celebrate having the chicken roaming into their own home, Mr. Speaker. In the year 2020, Mr. Speaker, there's a time that my ward was very much affected by the rains. I have an area called Kehoto area, Mr. Speaker. And at the moment, I feel that the lake is also coming. Mr. Speaker, you could fish from your own house, Mr. Speaker. For those of us who are blessed to have a house that has another house on top of you, Mr. Speaker, all you needed was add one, Mr. Speaker, and you could fish. today, that's where we are headed, Mr. Speaker. And I believe that a time has come that we are told what is the preparedness that we have as a county at the moment. Because if we can't have it, Mr. Speaker, then we are doomed, Mr. Speaker. Because these rains are not stopping soon, Mr. Speaker. It's as though El Nino is here with us. If you watch the news, Mr. Speaker, some time ago, last week, you will see how Dubai is, Mr. Speaker. Tornadoes have hit our area, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I believe that each and every member here, for those who have been totally affected by the rains, Mr. Speaker, just as Mr. Paranga's ward is affected, Mr. Speaker, I think it will be important we debate on such things, Mr. Speaker, so that we help our people, Mr. Speaker. Others, Mr. Speaker, my ward is at an emergency. My ward is at an emergency state, Mr. Speaker. Just as the system in this house is an emergency state, Mr. Speaker. You know this house, Mr. Speaker. We cannot continue this way, Mr. Speaker. We have so much, Mr. Speaker. And as the budget chair, Mr. Speaker, I have not been asked to appropriate even as an extra coin to have a good system. I have a very good communication team within my ward. They can come and fix these things, Mr. Speaker, because we are discussing things that can claim the lives of people within Nakuru, and yet we cannot discuss it with in a sober way, Mr. Speaker. So many other members here are limited, Mr. Speaker, including the government spokesperson, Mr. Karamu, Mr. Speaker. So I feel we should change this, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
What have you said about the government spokesman?
I have said, Mr. Speaker, the government spokesperson, Karamu, he normally holds brief for the majority leader, so I felt he's a government spokesperson.
Member who wants.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I think you're also witnessing the disaster. I think the heavy rains that we are talking about have now started damaging our system here. And this is a warning to our county. And I want to thank the Chair, Disaster Management, that he has rose on this matter of county importance. I think as a chair of disaster, having all these griefs to an extent that he has come to the house to raise a concern, it means that he has knocked each and every door without an ear to hear. So, Mr. Speaker, it's a very weighty matter that we need to ask ourselves, what are we going to do? Are we going to wait for people to die? Are we going to wait for people to be swept away by floods so that we can know the status? And I remember very well, as Honorable Kanyere has said, we had asked the statement on the preparedness of this county in terms of disaster management. And I think this is one of the reasons we are much agitating to have some changes in our standing orders, so that we can be able to get the information in time and in a comprehensive way. So, Mr. Speaker, we cannot just wait. In my ward, I had done a lot of roads, but today, Honorable Speaker, the videos that are running in my phone here, I'm worried whether I'll get my people well alive, because it is in bad state, and we are unable to predict what will be happening this evening. We are even worried whether we shall get clear and smooth way as we shall be going home. So we need to have a serious and functioning government, well prepared, Mr. Speaker, and well ready to face any kind of disaster that may arise. So I wish to support and to echo my brother here for raising such an important motion. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I think I'll be very brief. I want to categorically, sorry, Mr. Speaker.
Kindly proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wanted to categorically say that I'm not the government spokesman, as alleged by Mheshimiwa Alex. I'm also neither the representative of the majority leader in any way. But then I have some issues concerning the impending disaster. Looking at the rain phenomena that is now prevailing and the prediction from the meteorological department, it's like these rains are going to continue. And kind of our government, the county government, is not very fully prepared for this menace. I remember some few months ago, we had the same problem in my ward. There was a lot of rain. And we requested them to provide us with some materials, some culverts. And unfortunately, they were not able to raise even a line. They just demanded for the photographs, the videos, and we did send them to the same office, but they were unable to. It therefore means that it's a high time that they sit as a cabinet and allocate some of the funds to this impending problem. If they don't do so, then we are likely to face a lot of problems around, Mr. Speaker, sir. So I supported the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable members. It's like we've exhausted that issue on the disaster, and I want to guide the House as follows: that the respective committee chairmen take the matter upon themselves and liaise with the respective departments for preparedness and development of the action trajectory. Thank you, honorable members. Clerk, next order.
Mr. Speaker, sir, those are the orders of the evening session.
Thank you. This House stands adjourned until next week, Tuesday at 9:30 a.m.